الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. I believe this dhikr is very important, very significant, and I believe it's going to help all of us. So I'm going to repeat again, impress on you that wherever you have a chance, continuously, God is running everything, God is running everything, God is running everything. Silently and loudly, and every chance you get. And eventually, like I said, every cell in your body will be pronouncing this important decision. This is the requirement to make it to heaven. I want to talk again about being upset and fighting with anybody. Being upset, complaining, fighting. For your own good, you shouldn't do that. We should not do that for our own good, because it backfires manifold. When you say a hurting word or a hurting look, the Quran goes all the way to suspicion. Inside of your head, if you're suspicious of some, you look at me and I have a stomach ache or something and I'm making a face and you say, this guy is not friendly to me, you've committed a sin. And it's going to backfire on you. You're the one who's going to suffer. You must seek excuses for the people. If I pass by you and I'm making a face, it is not because I hate you. Probably I do. Maybe I do. But what you are supposed to do is, oh, he must have a headache or a stomach ache or something is bothering him. And you love me instead of hate me for your own good. But if I am making a face, if I'm passing by you and I'm making a face, and you assume that I do it because I don't like you, and it is true, even that little suspicion in your head will hurt you, will backfire on you. So let alone being loud, calling names. These backfire on you for your own protection, for your own peace of mind and happiness. Don't do it. And the reason is that the mechanism of it is that it is objection. It is complaining against what God is doing. God is running everything. And if your husband or wife or your friend is behaving in a certain way, it's because of something you have done. You have to join your wife or your husband or your friend and call you names or whatever the other person is doing. You ally yourself with your enemy against yourself because it's something you have done. So God is punishing me for something I have done. I have stepped out of God's laws. And always remind yourself, God is running everything. And don't say, I'm talking to somebody else. I'm talking to you, every one of you. And me. I have to remind myself. I think I'm the oldest person in this place. Anybody older than me? Gosh. See, from my experience, as being your elder, I'll give myself the privilege of advising you. From experience, it backfires on you when you lose your temper. Happiness is submission to God. You have to make a decision right now that you will never be upset. You will never complain. Let other people complain. Let them be upset. Let them call you names. You take the defeated side because for your own good. Because believe me, you're a lot happier this way. And you end up victorious. There is nothing in this world that is worth being upset about. Believing that God runs everything, as you read in the Quran, equals, or is better than, is better than owning everything in this world and twice as much. If you own Manhattan and all the real estate on Manhattan, they consider you rich. So I'm not talking about Manhattan, I'm talking about all of the United States, all of Japan. If you own Hong Kong, you'll be rich with all the real estate over there. But believing in God the proper way is better than owning everything in the whole world and twice as much. Does this make you happy? It should. The simplest thing you do as a believer which is praying 5 times a day, if you put it in the right perspective of a person who believes, is the greatest thing that can happen to anybody. Okay, I want you to put yourself in this situation. You receive a telephone call from the White House. You say, Frank, Jürgen, you're invited to have lunch with the president next Wednesday. Okay, I'm going to use Frank as an example. Frank immediately will call his work. I'm not coming to work on Wednesday. And will call his friends. Guess what? I'm invited to lunch at the White House. And he'll find the best clothes to put on for that important meeting. Well, 5 times a day you have an appointment with the King of Kings. If you believe that God runs everything, that God is the president of the whole world, that Reagan is a dinky servant, an insignificant creature of God, if you really know that, well, is this what you will do for every prayer? You have an appointment with God 5 times a day. You're going to call work and say, I'm not coming to work because I have an appointment with the president of the whole universe. So this puts things in perspective. You're going to seek excuses not to go to the White House? I have a headache, Mr. President. Most people will go even though they have the worst headache, a migraine, you know, and everything. They'll still go. Okay, I finished the main topic, and there are 2 points that I would like to mention before I close. One of them is something that I started to do. I should have done it a long time ago. There's a statement in the Quran that says, eat and drink, but in moderation, not too much. So I started doing this after Ramadan, and it feels great not to fill your stomach too much. I mean, look at the wisdom of the Quran. Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. Eat and drink, but in moderation, not too much. And it's a great thing. If I continued the same, I wouldn't be able to wear this suit. So I'm beginning to put on some of my clothes that I had discarded. God created in the universe. This will help us appreciate God and how He is running everything, and will induce us to make this new dhikr continuously. In the last issue of Parade magazine, Carl Sagan wrote an article about billions and billions. God created 1 billion trillion stars. Now forget the planets that go with these stars, and forget the fact that the sun is one of the dim stars. A bright star is defined as a star that is 1 million times, at least 1 million times as bright as our sun. So God created 1 billion trillion stars. And here there's a table from Parade that says how long it would take to count to this number. You know, the billion trillion, or 1 billion trillion will have 7 times 3, 21 zeros, which will make it a septillion. 1 billion trillion is a septillion, okay? So, but here they went as far as a quintillion. Okay, let's just go to the small number, okay? Quintillion. Yeah. Quintillion is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 3, only 18, not 21. The quintillion, how long it will take you to count this number from 0, 1 count per second, night and day. You know how long it will take you to count the quintillion? Let's forget the other 1 million stars. And let's forget the planets and the heavenly bodies and all this. It will take you, listen to this, you're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, just counting, okay? Not creating, counting. It's going to take you 32 billion years, which is more than the age of the universe. Okay? I mean, the universe is not 32 billion years, but if you just count, you look at the stars and count them one by one, it's going to take you 32 billion. This is mathematics, because you divide the quintillion by the seconds and the minutes and the days and so on. It will take you 32 billion years to just count them. And God created them. So you can appreciate the greatness of God.